Are you ready? Okay, let's go to the PowerPoint. We have the magnificent letter Mem. Okay, the Mem, let's start. Let's see, it should switch to like mom. See mom? If you'll notice, the first letter and the last letter are both M's, but they change shape, right? Well, it's the same thing in Hebrew. They have Mem is written two different ways. One, it is open in the bottom left corner, and the other one, it is closed. And the reason for that is if it is at the end of a word, it's always closed. If the letter Mem is in the middle or the beginning of a word, it is always open. And as you see, it is the 13th letter, and it has a numerical value of 40. So we find every Hebrew letter is also a word. And Mem, the letter is Mem. Mayim, if you add the letter Yud in the middle, you get water. In the ancient Hebrew, when Moses or David wrote that letter, they made crashing waves of water because Mayim is water. And as I mentioned, it's the number 40. The symbolic meaning is to be like a hurricane, massive amounts of water. Chaos, at the beginning of a word, it implies being from. It also implies a place. Okay, so the sages said that this is symbolic. Also, here I have waves of water. Here I have, I forgot to do something. So let me get rid of this. Oops, and let's go back to my PowerPoint. I know how I'm going to do this. Okay, so we're going to go here. Look at Mayim is water, and Mayim has a numerical value of what? Mem is what? 40. And how many days was the water? 40. Okay, so Mem is 40. Mayim is water. Noah's flood was for 40 days. Now, one of the things that the sages say is an open Mem refers to things being revealed, and a closed Mem refers to those things that are secret. And as a matter of fact, in Genesis 1, if you remember, God separated the waters above from the waters below. And here you have the Yud in Hebrew means hand, and here God's hand separates the waters above from the waters below, even within the word Mayim. Now, let's see. So the Yud represents the firmament in one sense. But now Deuteronomy 29, verse 29, talks about the secret things belong to the Lord, but those things that are revealed to us. So think of a closed Mem versus an open Mem. Now, let's take a look at a word. Here, the word compassion, rachum, you see it ends with the M or Mem, and it is closed. Well, one of the root words of this is rakam, which is a womb. This is, and we know the water breaks when a baby is born. And we know some of the matriarchs had a closed womb. They could not give birth. And in 1 Samuel 1:5, where it says the Lord had shut up her womb, Hannah, this is the word rachem. All right? So the Hebrew word for womb is connected to the word for mercy and compassion. And how many of us know the mother is a person of compassion? She always has compassion on her children because they come from her womb. Okay, now, so the rabbis have always associated the letter Mem with the womb because of this, all right? Now, before I go there, here you have Yud Mem is Yam. And how many of you have heard of the Red Sea in the Bible? Okay, well, it's really Yam Suf, okay? And Yam is the sea, which is why it has the letter Mem. Now, if you have Mem Yud Mum, what do you have? Mayim, which is what? Water. So here the letter Mem, that speaks of the sea, it speaks of water. And what do you get if you put the letter Resh in the middle? You get Miriam. Okay, the mother who had both a closed womb with the virgin birth as well as an open womb giving birth to other children. All right, so here we have Mem. Now, mother, the Hebrew word for mother is Aleph Mem. Okay? And we know that a baby, if it is born, there is an open mem, and if it's closed, it's a closed mem. And as I had said, was this last week during the normal lesson, I talked about the lemarbe word this is in Isaiah 9, 6, and 7, where it talks about a child is to be born, and his name is Wonderful Counselor of the Mighty God. And then it says, of the increase of his government and peace, there will be no end. Well, you'll notice the mem is open, but in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the mem was closed, and it wasn't at the end of a word. This is why the rabbis in 200 BC thought that there would be a miraculous virgin type of a birth for the Messiah, because the mem was closed back in Isaiah's time. So this is how they knew there would be a virgin birth. Of course, they don't want to claim it after Messiah was born, but the Jews beforehand always knew that there would be a miraculous birth for the Messiah based on the closed mem. Now, get a load of this. Mem means water. Mem has a numerical value of what? 40. Do you know that mem, which has a numerical value of 40, there are 40 days in the development of a human embryo? It's after 40 days. Brain waves have been recorded by EEG in the human embryo 40 days after fertilization. The doctor takes the date of the first day of the mother's last menstrual period as a starting point for a 40-week pregnancy. Okay? So I'm just saying the whole mem is tied to the birth. And then Isaiah 7:14, the Lord will give you a sign, and a virgin will conceive. And of course, that has the word Alma in it with a mem. Okay, so now, let me see. For time's sake, I want to give Sherry some time. One of the names of God, God has many names. One of his names is Makom, which means place. All right, now that's very important. Here it begins and ends with a mem. And if you remember what this is telling us about God, there are things he reveals to us and things he conceals, okay? In Isaiah 57:15, let me just show you both of these. It says, for thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity, whose name is holy, and he says, I dwell in the high and holy place. And remember, he also says, I dwell with those who are humble. And so we can be in that place with him where he would not only will reveal to us the things that he can, but even the secret things he will reveal to us.
Wow.
Sherry.
Thank you. Wow. All right, so you know M is truly amazing, and it says like in mom. So everybody say All right, and just like the lamed, mem is constructed of a vav and a kaf. But the lamed, the vav is on top of the kaf. In the mem, the vav is beside the kaf. And so that's a good way to remember how to write it. It's the vav beside the kaf, and we'll practice in a minute. Mem, like the kaf, remember, has two forms. Do you remember the two forms of kaf? Let me see if I have room here to write them. It would be, this is the kaf, and if this is the final form, okay? Mem also has two forms, as Pastor Mark has explained. It has the open form, and so we write the vav, and we come around with the kaf, and it has the closed form, which is super simple to write. So those two forms are going to be important for you to pick up on when you're reading, because this form, the open form, is going to be the very first letter or any other letter, but if it's the very last letter, it's going to be this closed form, unless it's that amazing word, which it was in the middle. Then you know there's some special meaning being portrayed. So let's write it. Everybody got a pen or pencil ready? All right, it's kind of fun actually. You're going to write your vav kind of curved, then you're going to follow it back down and come around with your kaf. Let's do one more. I'm going to do a small one. Kind of come back down that vav and around with the kaf. And then the closed form is super simple, just a square with this little line coming out here. Okay, everybody got those? So that's the open and closed mem. How many letters do we know so far that have two forms? Two. We know the kaf has two forms and the mem. So the word mime, everybody say mime.
Mime.
That's the Hebrew word for water, as Pastor Mark said. It shows you both forms in one word. So you have the open mem, the yud, and the closed mem. And the fun thing to know about that is that it's a little bit connected with the H2O that we think of as water, because there are two mems and a yud. Water is H2O. Mem, or mime, is M2 yud. Okay? Two M's, two mimes, two H's, and one yud, and one oxygen, or O. Everybody see that connection? It's pretty cool. All right, so mem has the gematria of 40, as Pastor Mark said, and there are 40 days and 40 nights the flood waters were upon the earth. And mem is so connected with water. The open mem, right here, is said to represent open teaching or things that are plain and simple to understand. And the closed mem is said to represent things that are hidden, that God reveals in his time. Daniel 2:27 says he reveals the deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in the darkness. The final closed mem is said to be like Jerusalem, that is to come, like a square as long as it is wide. That's kind of a fun way to think of it. All right, so let's review vowel points. We haven't done that for a couple weeks, and it's important to review. So I've got this whole row is vowel points, and you remember the three drippy dots of glue? Say, good, ooh. When somebody hits you right here, you say, ooh. You say ooh from now on, okay? So you go, so this is going to say, you're going to first say the sound of the letter, which is b, and then the vowel sound. So you're going to say boo. Here, this is the combination, letter and vowel. So you're going to say boo. This letter or this vowel point says E. This one says O, like what you say when you see the beautiful moon in the sky. So this is going to say B. This is going to say bo. And then we have ah, so we're going to have ba, a, and we're going to have bay. And now I put these in red because these points work together. And guess what? You don't even have to worry about the yud when you see that vowel combination, because yud is a vowel at this point. All you have to say is the vowel point underneath. So it's super simple. Okay, so this is going to be be. Simple, okay? So now let's read some words that have mem in them. The first word is going to be this. What's the vowel point?
E.
E. And it's going to work with the yud, so the yud isn't going to say anything. So the mem says, and so this is going to say,
me.
Me. And that means who in Hebrew. Me is who, he is she. I won't confuse
Ma
you.
is what?
Ma is what? Me is who, he is she. Anyway, I forget the whole thing.
Who's on first?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll have it for you next week. Me is who. Okay, you know this word now. What is it?
Mime.
Mime, water. Good. This letter you haven't had yet, but it says shh when there is a dot on the right side. So this is going to, now the dot's above the mem, so that's going to say Moshe. Moshe. What's that? Moses. Look, you're reading Hebrew. All right, this is going to say Ma-shi-ak. Mashiach. What's that say? Messiah. Excellent. You're reading. Okay, so here's another sheen, and it says shh. When the dot's on this side, so you're going to say shalom. What's it say? Shalom. Look at you reading. All right, here we have the word mashal, and it's the proverb. It's a proverb or a parable. This is going to say, when the two dots are under a letter, you just say the sound of the letter. So this is going to be me'od. Me'od, it means very.
Tov me'od. Very good.
Tov me'od, very good. Okay, and this is going to say me'ah. mea, which is 100, or the word for century. And that is your magnificent mem.
Let's hear it for mem. Yay,
Yay!
mem.